Dear brothers and sisters, our people have been poor for more years than we can remember. We have made only a small amount of progress these past 10 years of work and sacrifice. Our women and children still die too often and too young. There is too much hunger and disease among us. Growers, through the Farm Bureau, are seeking to bring the whole machinery of government against us. Why are they so afraid of a union for migrant workers? Is it too much to ask that the poorest people of the land have a measure of justice? In Arizona, a major lettuce-producing state, the growers and the politicians have just passed a law that destroys the right of farm workers to have a union. What is it that causes sane men to act so hastily and so cruelly? It cannot be that we are so powerful. In the context of the great corporations, we are like a mosquito on an elephant's back.
Inspired by Caesar's fast, the people began a door-to-door campaign to recall Governor Jack Williams.
¿Por qué no estoy registrada?
No, sí, no. No gusta registrarse. Sí, que pones tu dirección, sí.
Pues ella la pone siempre la dirección mía, donde quiera que firmo los cheques también, porque no puedo poner la dirección mía.
¿Ustedes no gustan ir a la misa de César Chávez? No van a las misas.
Hi. Your brother just signed this petition. He said you were registered to vote. Have you seen it? Against Jack Williams, the governor.
Y eso es una de las cosas también lo que el gobernador no ha hecho, ahora hay como...
The recall campaign received astonishing support from a wide spectrum of Arizona society. Workers of all trades, students, the elderly, and minorities of all colors and cultures, blacks, Mexican Americans, and Indians.
Sacar al gobernador para ver si podemos nosotros organizar la gente aquí de esta área y pues hacernos unidos, porque ahorita como estamos ahorita, hay una persona aquí y una persona allá, y cuando está la gente separada así, nunca vamos a poder hacer nada. Pero si nos unimos todos, entonces podemos hacer cambio aquí en este estado. Quería firmar la petición. Andamos, usted ayudó en la petición que andamos pasando para sacar al gobernador Williams de oficina. Sí. Es ahora con el bill ese que pasaron, que le quitaron todos los derechos al campesino de que se pueda organizar y que pueda tener este bargaining power. Y le quitaron casi todo el derecho del boicoteo.
Pues yo lo signé ya el petition.
Oh, ya lo signó.
Porque yo he ido para allá.
Oh, ándale pues. Muchas gracias pues.
You know where to go. I can't register you now, but we're sending people out here.
But many who supported the idea of recalling the governor were unable to sign the petitions because they weren't registered to vote. And so a voter registration drive was added to the union's intensifying campaign.
They have a saying in Spanish that the politicians, they say in Spanish, no más vienen a ver el nopal cuando tiene tunas. That politicians only come to see the cactus when it is bearing fruit. We're glad to say that this does not apply to Senator McGovern because he has been with the union time and again in times of need from the time that we first started our first struggle and in our boycott and in our strikes and in times of crisis he's always been with us. And we're just really glad that he was able to come now when we are facing such a crisis in the state of Arizona in the terms of the teacher of the Farm Workers Union.
I have just had a personal meeting with Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest living Americans, a champion of peaceful, nonviolent change in the tradition of Thoreau, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, a man who in the biblical phrase has been anointed to bring good news to the poor. And I come here today to manifest my support for his efforts. I support the farm workers' rights to organize and to bargain collectively in Arizona, in California, in Texas, in Florida, and all across this land. Secondly, until such time as collective bargaining takes place, I fully support the lettuce boycott.
Shall we get Governor Williams recalled? Yes.
From the fields and barrios, the struggle spread to the universities. Farm workers met and received the support of students and campus leaders at Arizona State University in Phoenix.
And now I'd like to present to all of you Cesar Chavez's brother, Ricardo Chavez. Un aplauso. This is not the first time that Cesar's ever fasted. In 1968, he fasted for 25 days. And then in 1970, he fasted for 14 days in Salinas. And now in Arizona, he's fasting not to have the law repealed right away or anything like that. He's fasting, he said, to see if he could touch the fast of love, he calls it. To see if by his actions he can get the governor and the senators and legislators that voted for this law, he could touch their hearts and let them know that they did something very wrong. Something, they committed a grave injustice against a group of people. We chose to organize a union because there's a group of people that had to be organized. The farm workers of this country. They are the ones that are on the bottom of the totem pole. The ones that have gotten shafted for years and years and years. The forgotten ones. Wherever we go, we raise a stink. We are not afraid to fight. You are not going to get it by asking for charity. You're not going to get it. You have to fight for it every damn inch of the way. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We consider ourselves part of the movement, of the overall movement. And anybody that works in the movement, no matter where or what they're doing or with whom they are connected with, they are part of the same movement that we are. We consider you part of us and us part of you.
These are Arizona onion fields. This is where a farm worker must look for the American dream. 3/4 of all farm workers earn less than minimum federal poverty levels. Life expectancy for farm workers is only 49 years. Infant mortality among farm workers is 125% higher than the national average. 800,000 farm workers in our country are children under the age of 16. And in Arizona, these kids work in 100-degree heat, 7 days a week, whenever there's work.